Well, I guess there's been some, I don't know, for lack of a better term, fallout. I don't think, not fallout. I just want to take a look at some of the opinions of conservative commentators. I mean, we've already seen like what Asmongold and Marjorie Taylor Greene have seemingly said about Robin Westman, I believe her name was. I'm really bad with names. I fucking forget all this shit all the time. But yeah, like that's what we are mostly going to try to examine here. Mostly because I want more excuses to make fun of RFK Jr. Because you should always have a reason to just go after RFK Jr. and make fun of conservatives. Because again, like I said before, the conservative line on this is to not talk about common sense like gun regulation, but more so just talk about the fact that she was trans, right? And yeah, she happened to be fucking trans. In comparison to a lot of the other people who do mass shootings within the United States, a trans person who does a fucking mass shooting is like 0.11% of the time when these incidents sort of occur. And even by the definition of a mass shooting, this technically doesn't hit the definition of a mass shooting. It's still a tragic event, obviously, not trying to downplay that in particular. But like I said before, since conservatives are wholeheartedly captured by the gun lobby and just want to, I don't know, they don't give a fuck about the sanctity of life, so they don't really give a shit if people die by fucking guns. Like they don't care about that at all. They're just going to go ahead and just keep pushing this line, I suppose, for like lack of a better term. But what do we have here? Someone's about to launch a AI threat detection platform, but for law enforcement. Oh, I'm sure that this is not going to be like abused in any terrible way whatsoever. What do we have here?
Trace, as you know, correct, 100%, and she's 100% correct. I am now about to launch Gideon, America's first ever AI threat detection platform.
Oh, he's an Israeli special ops veteran. No wonder it's fucking named Gideon. I was about to say, like, this sounds like some real fucking Israeli inspired fucking bullshit, bro. Like, state security apparatus, like, remote gun fucking tier bullshit. Like, yeah, dude. Because, like, we all know with the AI tools specifically that Israel uses to detect Palestinian terrorists or Hamas hideouts or whatever the fuck, that it does a really, really good job at being able to detect who's a terrorist and who's like a non-combatant civilian or a fucking child. Very, very cool.
Platform built specifically for law enforcement. It scrapes the internet 24/7 using an Israeli-grade ontology to pull specific threat language and then routes it to local law enforcement. It's a 24/7 detective. It never sleeps, and it's
Again, I want just like real quick, like what if someone's just talking about like I don't know, it's like bro, I got my fucking shooters here, and it's like not related to guns at all, and it just means like people who will just go up to bat for you. What if the fucking goddamn system just like mistakes that for like someone who's planning to do a mass shooting, and they get like arrested for it or some shit? Like, have you ever thought of it this way? Like there's a reason why like AI should not be really used for any of this stuff, and it's more important to have people look into, like, say like the FBI or whatever, look into people's rather suspicious posting history and be like, well, this is rather fucking interesting. Why are people saying these things that they're saying? I don't know. Little sus. And have someone like get interviewed about that, see what's going on, do some investigations perhaps. Just saying.
it's going to get us in front of these attacks.
Would it have picked up on this, do you think?
100%. I wish my program would already be up. We're not launching until next week. I've got a dozen agencies on board, Trace. I just unloaded a major Northeast agency with over 2,700 sworn. This is America's early warning system.
Lieutenant Mark Evans.
Again, I like this totally won't be abused by the police in America in any way, shape, or form. No, no, no. What could possibly go wrong? More like stupid, dumbass AI detection systems. Very, very cool, because that's been really going really, really well when the Israelis have been using it to go after who they think are Hamas terrorists within fucking Gaza and just like leveling apartment blocks with people's fucking families in them. Very cool. But we got Jesse fucking Watters talking about our leaders keep failing us. Wonder what he has to say. Oh, keep in mind, real quick, Jesse Watters' time slot is the exact same sort of time slot that used to be occupied by Tucker Carlson. And to be quite honest, when it comes to like people like Jesse Watters, he's just like a belligerent frat boy. He's just like a very, very sort of like incredibly self-centered, snooty, very, very fucking full of himself dipshit, where if you like do any analysis of like whatever he says, you can immediately just pick out like, man, this is just incoherence. Very, very cool. The LAPD has had so many wrongful arrests because of Palantir profiling tech they use. Oh, Palantir tech. Very, very cool.
Fox News alert, tragedy in Minneapolis after a shooter opened fire during a morning mass at a Catholic grammar school. 2 children killed, 8 and 10 years old, and 17 others were rushed to the hospital. 14 of them were children, but police say they're all expected to make it, thankfully. K-8 students were marking the first week of school when bullets started blasting through the windows of the church.
During the mass, a gunman approached on the outside on the side of the building and began firing a rifle through the church windows towards the children sitting in the pews at the mass.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true, Alex. Isn't the story that Jesse Watters about how he got a date with his now wife is that he like slashed the fucking tires so that she was like forced to stay in after work with him specifically? Was it Jesse Watters, I think, who had that particular story? Yes. Yeah. That's fucking weird, man. That is really, really weird. Why would you slash your the girl you're fucking crushing on, slash her fucking tires so then she can't leave, and then I guess she never really detected any of those fucking red flags and decided to bury him? It's very, very, very fucking weird, bro. So weird. Yeah, has done some horrendous shit with women. Yeah, it's I don't know. Seems like some real fucking frat boy, weird, creepy, dipshit fucking tier energy. So I think that's like an accurate assessment of Jesse Watters.
Shooting through the windows, he struck children and worshipers that were inside the building. The shooter was armed with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. This was
Yes, that is correct, Boy Meets Minnie, which is why I don't know, like the shooter did detrans, but I'm not sure if I was going to go with like she, her, or he, him. I don't know. I'm just gonna go they, because I don't fucking know, like, what's, like, most fucking appropriate. They were trans, now they're not trans, or whatever. I don't know if it's because of fucking 764. More than likely, that's why they transitioned to begin with. Because 764 is it's a satanic fucking cult, sextortion cult. Like, we talked about that initially, in our initial coverage when we talked about all this stuff. So, whatever. Like, who the fuck gives really much of a shit about this? Like, just use what's, like, most appropriate and just, like, respect that. And, like, who the fuck cares?
a deliberate act of violence against innocent children.
Students were ducking for cover as round after round pierced through the pews. One 10-year-old said his friend saved his life.
We just got into mass, and it was like 3 minutes after. It was very scary. It was like
it's so
my
sad,
friend got
dude.
shot in the back. He was like laying on top of me, like making sure I was safe, and he got hit. So that was really brave of him.
And you have a nick on your neck?
Yeah, that was, I don't even know what it's from. Kind of looks like debris or something.
But that came from doing this?
Yeah.
How are you feeling? You seem pretty put together here, but it's got to be tough.
Yeah, I'm just like confused kind of, because I never thought it would happen.
This should never have happened. But how did it? The shooter was identified as 23-year-old Robin Westman. Robin changed his name from Robert back in 2019 when he was a minor. His mother submitted the name change on his behalf. The court documents say the minor child identifies as female and wanted her name to reflect the identification.
Okay, so quick reminder, the reason why more than likely this happened is because at the time, Robin Westman more than likely was groomed by 764. We know of these connections that she used to have in the past. Connections to, again, quick reminder for as to what 764 is. It is a satanic neo-Nazi cult. It is an active fucking terrorist organization as listed by the United States. So let's be fucking honest here. It's just like, that's kind of fucking interesting. Like, but you're never going to hear any of these commentators point that out specifically because, again, it's all about just hyper specifically fixating on the fact that they are fucking trans, right? Like, it's all about the transness of these people. They don't give a fuck about the fact that someone who got groomed by a far-right satanic terrorist network got fucking groomed into doing a shooting like this. Like, that's the real issue, right? Like, it's a satanic, nihilistic, neo-Nazi, sextortion cult, dude. Like, it's fucking crazy. And yeah, like you're saying, Boy Meets Minnie, like 99% of trans people don't join these extremist groups. They get care through the proper channels. Yeah, exactly. 1000 fucking percent, dude. Like, the proper channels were done here. It got all approved by whatever doctors and fucking legal systems were put in place for the fucking change. I don't know. When was the age that the transition started to happen? Because again, like, hormone replacement therapy does not really get done on fucking minors, right? That only happens in the most extreme circumstances. Generally speaking, when it comes to specifically transitioning with minors, it's generally speaking done socially first. You know, like, let's say it's a boy transitioning into a girl, for example. The trans girl in that particular instance will pick their new name by, you know, whatever the fuck name they want. Who cares? After that, they will get to be associated by said name. This will get, like, after all of the testing with the doctors, the psychologists, it gets approved by whatever courts. You know, there's a lengthy approval process that goes into this. Generally speaking, what happens is they will socially transition. They will change their clothes to girls' clothes. They'll start using girls' toys and all of this stuff specifically. And like I said before, in only the most extreme of extreme circumstances do they get the actual fucking transition. Like HRT, you know, they go on their estradiol, their spironolactone, and surgeries are also very, very rare. Extremely, extremely fucking rare. But, like, sometimes it happens. It only in the most extreme of fucking circumstances it generally happens. So that's generally what occurs. And then when they hit 18, or because they're generally speaking they're going to be put on puberty blockers to stop the process of puberty, and then that is when the actual transitioning begins. You know, they take their HRT, their hormone supplements, and all that shit. Yada, yada, yada. And then, if they want to go further, get the fucking surgeries, they can go further and get the surgeries. But that generally happens at 18 plus. Not when they're minors. It's very, very rare when that happens.
His behalf. The court documents say the minor child identifies as female and wanted her name to reflect the identification. So Robert changes his name to Robin and mows down pews of kids at a Catholic school church and then offs himself in the parking lot. And it wasn't just a random church. His mother used to work there. CNN reports Westman actually graduated from there in 2017. And this morning he showed up with a rifle, shotgun, and pistol. Hours before the shooting, Westman posted a 20-minute video where he paged through a manifesto, described himself as severely depressed and suicidal. He fantasized about the Sandy Hook massacre and said he loves to see kids get shot. The morning shooting was obviously premeditated because there was a drawing of the floor plans in his notebook. The video also shows Jesus' face as target practice. Westman wrote things on his...
I mean, it makes sense that they would go after a church in particular, again, 764 is a satanic, far-right cult. So, we probably understand why, in particular, Robin, or whatever the fuck they go by now, who cares, why they decided to fucking target a Catholic church in particular. Because, again, affiliations with 764, a far-right satanic terrorist network. So, makes sense. They're Satanists. They're gonna go after the church. Makes sense, right? Even though, like, to be honest, of some of the Satanists that I am aware of, they're mostly just focused on criticizing the institution of the church, and they tend to be pretty fucking lefty. Like, the Church of Satan is a, well, lefty group who just does not like the institution of the church. Like, 764 is an aberrance in particular here, so, yeah, whatever.
Weapons, such as, where is your God? Israel must fall. Nuke India. Suck on this and kill Donald Trump. The FBI is investigating this as an act of domestic terror and a hate crime targeting Catholics. But police say they don't know anything.
We don't have a motive at this time. Obviously, we're open to any possibilities at all, but we don't have a motive.
The media says the motive doesn't matter. It's the gun's fault.
I think it's either like you have to be honest and say what will actually...
Well, we already know what the fucking motive is, more than likely, because, again, very interesting that Jesse, in particular, does not talk about a lot of the other messages that were going on the gunman's, or gunwoman, whatever, the gun itself, talking about all the racial epitaphs and all the slur usage and everything. Because, again, it's all meant to be a fucking distraction from the fact that this is a very far-right, depressed individual who was groomed into this ideology by, once again, a satanic neo-Nazi cult.
work, which is what nobody wants to hear, which is that there are just simply way too many firearms and they're way too accessible, and even if
they're too powerful,
and they're too powerful, even handguns too.
Again, it's not an inaccurate statement to also say that there is a problem with how easily accessible firearms were. There used to be a U.S. federal assault weapons ban in place until it got fucking lifted by, who lifted the assault weapons bans? Was this Bush? Oh no, it expired in 2004. It just was never re-implemented. Why the fuck are laws allowed to fucking expire like this? Or it was W. Yeah, W fucking lifted it. Yeah, W fucking lifted it. So people, question and wonder why there's been a significant increase in terms of assault weapons within the United States. It's because fucking W fucking lifted this assault weapons ban. That's why. But again, he's a conservative, and he's never gonna fucking address that because again, he's just a fucking goddamn propagandist. Or rather, never reinstated it because of the NRA. That makes more sense.
So a suicidal transgender who hates Trump, Christians, and Jews shoots up kids at a Catholic school, and the media wants to take away your handgun.
Again, 764 is a satanic neo-Nazi cult. Gonna keep saying that over and over and over again, because he's never gonna fucking say that. More than likely because he doesn't know, because, again, this is the type of dude that in order to get a wife, he has to slash the tires to her fucking car, so that's pretty cool. Great, fantastic. That in order to be able to court someone, even think about speaking to a fucking woman, so, he probably doesn't know about any of this shit because he's a fucking idiot.
So how are we supposed to protect ourselves from trans shooters? The media is bad at pattern recognition. We aren't. Just 2 years ago, another trans...
That's really fucking funny. Hey, Jesse, why aren't you talking about all the other, far right-wing dipshits who have done these fucking shootings and claim that they're fucking trans or non-binary for the express purpose of being little fucking trolls, so then idiots like you can fucking scapegoat the community further and further. Just some food for thought.
Trans 20-something walked into a Christian school in Nashville with a rifle and shot 3 kids and 3 adults. They buried the manifesto and locked down the case. We've seen trans shootings in Colorado and in Maryland. They even shot up an ICE facility in Texas. And it seems like half of Antifa's trans. A couple of they-thems just got popped for firebombing Teslas. The mayor of Minneapolis says, you can't say that.
Oh, yeah, because it's not true. That's why it is accurate to say that that's not the main reasoning. Again, whoa, crazy. The point is that you're scapegoating. You are actively acting in a propagandistic matter, Jesse, because you're just a stooge for the Republican Party. The current line is to go ahead and just be like, I don't know, just blame him for being fucking trans and just go with that, which has been the current standard Republican line, and not focusing on the fact that, again, Robin Westman was associated with a decentralized satanic neo-Nazi transnational sextortion network. That is fucking why. And is reportedly adjacent to the Order of the Nine Angles. Again, a far-right satanic neo-Nazi terrorist network. Because again, it would be rather inconvenient for you to mention that.
Anybody who is using this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any other community out there has lost their sense of common humanity.
That's true.
We should not be operating out of a place of hate for anyone. We should be operating from a place of love for our kids.
I don't hate anyone who thinks they're trans. I feel sorry for them. But statistically...
No, get the fuck out of here with this mealy mouth bullshit. No, you would not be having this fucking segment if you liked them. Get the fuck out of here with this bullshit.
Trans population has been prone to violence. That's not villainizing, that's reality. And if you can't recognize reality...
Is that so? And not fucking the white male demographic that you were so ardently defending? Really? Again, who are the main people that have been doing the fucking school shootings? Yeah, it's mostly them.
Danger. We love the American people, especially American children.
No, you don't.
And if they're troubled and believe they're somehow...
If you love the American people, then you would have been critical of stuff like the One Big Beautiful Bill, which you weren't. So, no, you don't.
Girl trapped in a boy's body, we want to get them help. We don't want to give them hormones and operate on them. Society shouldn't be trying to produce more trans kids. We shouldn't be encouraging an emotional disorder or whatever this is. And doctors should stop profiting from it. Great Britain ended...
Yeah, dude, because that's exactly big trans and big estradiol and spironolactone. Yeah, like, I don't know. This is the exact same shit that's been fucking constantly debunked at this point over and over and over again. So it becomes like beating a fucking tired drum. Where it's just like, dog, you have no fucking idea what you are talking about. Like, that's not the main reasonings. Do you really think that people transition again in order to get like brownie points on the fucking internet or some shit? Get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. That's not the reason why. More than likely, they were fucking groomed by 764, which was a neo-Nazi, far-right satanic cult they were associated with. Nonsense.
Child sex change surgeries. They said it's barbaric, and they're right. And politicians...
Damn, dude, like, good thing that hardly fucking happens. Nonsense.
Should stop elevating the trans issue like it's the civil rights struggle of the 21st century. You see it all over Minneapolis.
Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? You people are making it such that it is the civil rights struggle of the 21st fucking century, because it is. Because you keep demonizing, well, specifically trans people over and over and over again. Because, again, you know, the arc of history only marches fucking forward. Gay people got their fucking rights. Next is going to be fucking trans people. That's just how it fucking works. And you're just mad about that. You just want to turn back the clock. Because you're just a fucking creepy, freakazoid weirdo who had to slash the fucking tires of his wife in order to even be able to think about speaking to you. Speaking to her. Nonsense.
Minneapolis will continue to be a safe haven for our trans community.
For being a safe haven for transgender individuals.
We have sued them for gender-affirming care. Yes, we are not going to scapegoat our transgender community.
When our children tell us who they are.
Well, that's a little telling that, I believe that was Governor Evers, I think, saying that we're not going to scapegoat our trans community. I wonder why the term scapegoat is being specifically used there. Interesting. Maybe because that's exactly what you're doing, Jesse.
It is our job as grown-ups to listen and to believe them.
So when your 9-year-old tells you he's a horse, do you let him sleep out in the barn and eat hay? What are we doing here?
Yeah, because that's totally what happens constantly. Like, shut the fuck up, idiot. These are individuals that get fucking tested constantly. Whatever. Like I said before, still, freaky, creepy weirdo who had to slash his fucking his wife's car tires in order to be able to even think about speaking to her. Nonsense.
Just a few years ago, the psychiatric community classified transgenderism as a mental illness. Then doctors went woke and removed it as a condition, and now millions of young Americans are identifying themselves as trans and getting high fives.
This is the most low IQ fucking shit on the fucking planet. Like, what do you mean? The DSM got a fucking update, you moron. That gets fucking approved and, what? Peer-reviewed by hundreds of fucking doctors all around the world. Nonsense.
Someone has an illness, we should treat it instead of affirm it. We don't celebrate schizophrenia. We don't encourage depression.
I don't know, yet you have like this schizophrenic conniption about trans people in particular. I don't know. Maybe we should not be catering to your particular schizophrenia.
Teenagers are confused. Sometimes these things are just a phase. And if they're not, all right, then a grown man can wear a dress. If he wants to do that in America, he has that right. We're a pretty darn tolerant society. But the left's
Are you sure about that? Are you sure that you're a pretty darn tolerant society? Okay, if you're so fucking tolerant, then Jesse, why are you making this fucking segment? I'm just saying.
Weaponizing trans kids and turning them into culture warriors. And they've been turned loose.
That is incredibly fucking rich coming from you. You're the one who's making the fucking segment, turning this into a culture warrior fucking bit, dude. You're the one who's doing that. You're the culture warrior in the war against big trans or whatever the fuck bullshit. Nonsense, dude. You are the people who constantly hyperfixate on trans people in particular because, again, if you don't hyperfixate on them and you have people start thinking about Republican policy, you're going to start suffering politically for it. That's why you fucking do it, my dude. It's not about trans people. It's all about using them as a scapegoat in order to cover for the fact that Republican policy and conservative policy is incredibly fucking unpopular with average people. Complete utter nonsense. What is this? Family, friends, LGBTQ leaders grieve trans woman fatally shot in Minneapolis. Damn, it's almost as if there is... This is what actual fucking community looks like. Something that conservatives will never fucking understand, ever. And there's another story. Mourns the tragic loss of a trans woman who got fucking killed in Minneapolis. Interesting. Probably all by the exact same, like, stupid, schizo, loser, dumb fuck right-wingers. I don't know. Hey, Jesse, does this look like a fucking man to you? I don't really know. Doesn't look like a man to me. But as expected from fucking people like Jesse Watters. He's just an ignorant moron because he just wants to push a particular cultural line. That's it.
Against the church, schools, and Trump. You see it, I see it. The trans Klan has a militant wing, and it's out for blood. They're taking lives, defiling churches, and freaking everybody out.
Sure,
and
man.
Some politicians are doing more to protect shooters like West.
Yeah, like, except for, like, all the weirdo far-right dipshits who will do, like, constant school shootings at fucking synagogues and stuff. Okay, bro.
Than soft targets like schools. In 2023, private schools in Minnesota begged Governor Walz to fund more school safety. They told him it was an urgent and critical need. Minnesota had an $18 billion budget surplus, but the governor didn't do it. Instead, he turned Minnesota into a trans sanctuary, and his attorney general, Keith Ellison, sued Trump so they can keep castrating little boys. Tim Walz failed. Our leaders keep failing us. They failed us during COVID, on trade, on immigration. They say...
Yeah, dude, because Trump is currently doing a really good job in terms of all of the fucking policies that he's putting in place. He's underwater in every fucking policy. Crazy.
They care about kids, but they locked them down and oversaw an obesity and chronic disease epidemic. And now there's a...
This is just like, what else are you supposed to say to this besides, like, it's just, like, schizophrenic ramblings for a bunch of, like, conspiratorial dumb fuck 3 IQ boomers. Like, what are you fucking talking about, bro?
Growing trans epidemic, and they won't even admit it. It's
yeah,
a crime.
Fucking trans epidemic. Very, very common. Yeah, everyone's being given estradiol and fucking spironolactone. Sure, bro.
Created a crisis, and then lie about it, and blame you for not being compassionate. But their fake compassion is getting people killed.
Hey, Minneapolis mourns tragic loss of trans woman. This is published just last year, December 19th. How about this? This is also December 7th, 2023. Very, very cool. I mean, you know, again, as expected from this, like, frat boy fucking Nepo baby fucking loser, the fact that he still hasn't matured enough emotionally in order to not understand the basic concept of fucking empathy is, like, you know, unsurprising to me. But we got RFK Jr. What does our boy RFK have to say about all this?
Story that we've been covering all morning of 2 children dead and at least 17 more people hurt after a gunman opened fire during a back-to-school mass at a Catholic school in Minneapolis.
So Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. joins us now. And I know we're all watching this together, Mr. Secretary, and wondering how we prevent it. And we're still trying to get a lot of answers to a ton of questions. But the one thing is...
A common sense gun regulation, red flag laws, bunch of stuff like that, right? Like, that's how you stop stuff like this. Pretty fucking simple.
It's clear you are dealing with a person who's trans, that was transitioning. Are you going to be examining at all some of the drugs that are used in order to make that transition happening, to see if it plays a role? Because we also know there was a trans shooter in the Tennessee situation.
Yeah, we are doing those kind of studies now at NIH. We're launching studies on the potential contribution of some of the SSRI drugs and some of the other psychiatric drugs that might be contributing to violence. You know, many of them...
Why psychiatric drugs in particular? Like, again, like I said before, RFK Jr. hates people who are fucking mentally ill. Why do you think he's, like, doing, like, weird fucking vaccine trutherism bullshit, thinking he can find, like, a cure to autism, and thinks it's, like, something external to causes of fucking autism? Again, people like this have a hatred of the fucking mentally ill and see them as, well, not only a fucking moral aberrance, but basically as a roadblock and a sort of inefficiency within the state apparatus. Like, again, Dr. Mehmet Uz, who also fucking works in HHS with RFK Jr., has said himself that the biggest problem with mentally ill people is that they are not able to be contributors to the state. You want to know who the exact same people who said that? It was a funny little mustachioed man in fucking 1933. You can probably fill in the rest from there.
On their had black box warnings that warn of suicidal ideation and homicidal ideation. So we can't exclude those as a culprit, and those are the kind of studies that we're doing.
So I've never seen that medicine, but you're saying that if you get it, some of the side effects could be homicide, suicide?
Well, there are black box warnings on some of these psychiatric drugs that warn about, in their clinical trials, that they saw suicidal and homicidal ideation. So, you know, we are going into that with an open mind. We're looking, a lot of these studies have not been done in the past because of HIPAA regulations, which protect the privacy of patients. But it's something like...
Yeah, something that you violated by giving a bunch of medical information to ICE. So, do you really give much of a fuck at all about fucking HIPAA regulations? And yeah, exactly, Boy Meets Mini. Like, he's trying to imply causation where there's just none whatsoever. He's trying to say that it's all the fault of psychiatric drugs because, again, RFK Jr. is a crank and will do basically anything possible in order to try to, well, blame vaccines and blame drugs in order to sort of, like, prescribe, like, whatever idiot homeopathic solutions instead, and anything to do with anti-vaccine conspiracism because, again, he is a former head of one of the arch misinformation peddlers of anti-vaccine conspiracism because he's a fucking crank. Yeah, you know, RFK Jr. is saying estradiol is the new jihad gateway drug. So true.
Now that we are looking at, we need to look at it, and we need to explain why all this violence is happening, and we need to look at every possibility.
Right. So obviously,
listen, I'm looking forward to in about, I don't know, like it's almost September, right? In the course of maybe a week or two, for his study saying that autism has like some a drug that's causing fucking autism, because that's what he's looking into with his current autism study, saying that there has to be fucking a drug or some outside influence that's causing an increase in fucking detection rates for fucking autistic youth within America.
So you have a lot of things at play, whether it's the SSRIs or just the profound mental disease that is affecting a lot of these people. And obviously we have endured a lot of these shootings over the years. What can be done about the HIPAA regulations so that federal authorities can get around that and actually examine the bodies and do forensic analysis of...
I'm gonna keep going back to the point I asked you why it's been easier for people to acquire these assault weapons. Federal assault weapons ban being let to expire. Thank you, George W. Bush.
Of some of the mental diseases that go into this.
We have the authority to do that. We need IRB approval to do those kind of studies, but we can get to that data. It has not been done in the past, and we need, this kind of violence is very.
I wonder why it's not been done in the past. Oh, because there's you're trying to imply causation to something where there is none. That's why they haven't done these fucking studies, because there's just no point in doing those fucking studies.
Recent. It's a new thing in human history. There was no time in the past when people would walk into a church or a classroom and start shooting people. And it's not really happening in other countries.
Guys, it couldn't be because the material conditions are really, really bad and because of the expiry of the federal assault weapons ban. It couldn't be because of those things.
It's happening here, and we need to look at all of the potential culprits that might be contributing to that.
Secretary, the CDC director was fired after refusing to resign as her lawyers accuse you, sir, of putting millions of American lives at risk as a CDC vaccine chief slammed in a resignation post. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
Okay, I do not care about this CDC director stuff. I mostly just wanted to focus on that in particular, but who gives a fuck about this shit? I mean, as expected, RFK Jr. Has no fucking idea about the main reasons for as to why the that shootings fucking happening. He's just going to try to blame whatever he can see materially and not sort of think about more root cause basis for as to why shit like this happens. Again, they were groomed by a fucking far right satanic terrorist network, one of the subsidiaries, of course, of it. And also, they were able to acquire weapons because of the federal assault weapons ban that was allowed to expire under George W. Bush. Very cool. But we got another little bit here from fucking RFK Jr. But talking about a full investigation into the meds the trans Minneapolis shooter was using. What? What are you gonna fucking find? Estradiol, spironolactone, maybe? Were they using antidepressive drugs? We know in the manifesto that she was quite fucking depressed, right? So that's not ridiculous. Maybe they were taking antidepressants. I don't know. It's stupid. Because again, with RFK Jr., since this is a man who is fundamentally against the concept of public health, he is willing to do anything fucking possible in order to, destroy that in particular. But we have here.
I certainly.
Yeah, do everything except to investigate 764. 1000%.
Consider mass shootings a health crisis. And we are doing for the first time real studies to find out what the etiology of that is. And we're looking for the first time at psychiatric drugs. These kind of mass shooting, people have had guns in this country for.
Federal assault weapons ban. This is why. A lot of this has been becoming more prominent and deadly because of this. I don't know how many times I have to keep fucking reiterating this stuff. It's this. It is this ban being allowed to expire. That is why.
Forever. When I was a kid, we had shooting clubs at our school. Kids, my classmates, other people would bring a .22 rifle with their guns to school and park it in the parking lot. Nobody was shooting. So there's never been a time in America, in the history of humanity, and people walked into a crowd, into a church or a movie theater or a school or a crowd of strangers and just started randomly shooting.
Dog, what the fuck are you talking about? The reason why this is happening is because A, material conditions on the fucking ground have been getting worse for your average fucking American, so it may lead them into depressive episodes where they feel like there's nothing left that they can do, so they're just going to go out in a blaze of glory. Specifically with what the Robin also described within their fucking manifesto. Whoa, crazy. Ridiculous, I know. Very, very, highfalutin concept that I'm describing here in particular for this, I don't know, a complete, utter adult who likes to swim in sewage runoff, for fuck's sake. And also, it's been easier than ever for them to acquire assault weapons because of the expiry of the assault weapons ban. Crazy. Also, his claim of mass shootings being new is cap. Mass shootings have happened throughout U.S. history. Gold rush miners in California were deputized to do mass shootings against indigenous people. Dude, fucking, wasn't Columbine and Sandy Hook? Those happened in the late 80s to fucking 90s, dude. The federal assault weapons ban was a response to those high-profile mass shootings. You fucking morons. Yep, during the ban. Uh-huh.
It's happening in our country. It's not happening around the world. And there are many other countries.
Because we have significantly better fucking regulations on guns. That's why.
That have comparable levels of guns that we have in this country. We had comparable levels in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and people weren't doing that. Something changed, and it dramatically changed human behavior. And one of the culprits we need to examine is whether the fact that we are the most over-medicated nation in the world, and at a lot.
I wonder why the United States of America might be one of the most overly medicated nations in the world, RFK Jr. Couldn't it be in particular because of, a particular trillions of dollars industry that exists within the United States of America called the pharma industry that people like you will refuse to fucking regulate or do anything about? Complete, utter fucking nonsense, dude.
A lot of those are psychiatric drugs that have black box warnings on them that warn of suicidal and homicidal ideation. So we are doing those studies right now for the first time, and we will have an answer.
Complete, utter fucking nonsense. But again, RFK Jr. will never, ever, ever fucking address any of the root cause and root basis of the real fucking issue. It is more difficult than ever for Americans to be able to even think about being able to afford basic fucking goods. I'm gonna pull up the fucking classic. Hello to the wage productivity gap. Hey, RFK, I wonder why people might be getting fucking more and more depressed and incapable of being able to have a fucking life and be able to sort of have the idea of, well, nothing is changing in my life, nothing is getting better, I'm willing to go out in a fucking blaze of glory. Because of shit like this. It is a material issue, something that you're never going to address. And we're talking about weapons that are being easier and easier than ever to obtain because of the expiry of this ban that President George W. Bush allowed to happen. So spare me all this fucking nonsense, because you're never going to look into any of these. You're also not going to take a look into fucking 764, which is a satanic neo-Nazi transnational sex torsion ring, and is a fucking cult. So, great, fantastic, excellent that you're deciding to not address any of these root issues and would prefer to focus on complete, utter fucking nonsense instead, because you have your own particular agenda to push, and that is an assault on fucking public health. Because, as I've said before, and we'll keep saying again, RFK Jr. is one of Nurgle's strongest fucking champions. And he will do anything possible in order to basically, well, cause more suffering of the American people. Make America healthy again. More like, make America vulnerable to Nurgle's rot again. So, as expected from fucking this complete utter crank. And also our favorite frat boy dipshit and loser who wants to only hyperfixate on culture war topics and issues, because if he ever talks about any Republican policy, he'll know that that shit is basically impossible to fucking spin, especially with his fucking stupid ass, creepy looking head ass who has to fucking slash the tires of his wife's car in order to even be able to think about talking to her. That he's going to be wholeheartedly incapable of fucking being able to run cover for an administration which is spiraling in fucking popularity and is wholeheartedly unequipped in order to be able to deal with any of these issues. Complete utter nonsense as always from these fucking morons.